Page 32, Valse, waltz. It's a waltz, a very famous waltz by Chopin. This is a nice little arrangement of it. It says it's a study in style. That is, the lesson is on style. I don't know what style they're talking about. It's a waltz. In my opinion, it shouldn't even be here. Because if you play it up to speed correctly, you're more advanced than where you should be in this book. However, it's here, so let's go over it. I'll look it over. It's 2 pages long. Treble bass clef to start. 1 flat in the key signature. We are in the key of F major. Make sure you can do the F major scale. At least 1 octave up and down, and if you're good with the 1 octave, go ahead and do the 2. 3/4 time, it's a waltz. It should be in 3/4 time pretty much, and we have a pickup beat, which means there should be another measure somewhere with 2 counts in it. And if you look at the bottom of page 33, the last measure has 2 counts. So finally they got it right. They didn't get them right, but it's okay. We're coming in on beat 3. Now I want to take it one hand at a time because both hands are rather busy and they're moving around. It's a little bit tricky. Right hand, they have a 2 on here and then a 2 here. So we're sort of here. And we're using different fingers on repeated notes here, mainly because it's fast, but also because it's good practice. It says here 2, 1, and 2, and 3. They want 2 again. Just come up more. Reach up more. This way we're in position for that. And if you can't fit up in here, then you got to go here. I don't know how big your hands are, but the book, fingering in the book is fine if you can fit it. And then at 2, there's a 4, 3, 3, 3. I'm going to talk about the second line. These notes, and again, it's the same pattern, it's just different notes. We're going down the keyboard. That's called a sequence. And most of the time, not always, the black keys tend to get in the way, but most of the time we like to try and finger each of those patterns the same. And that's what we're doing here. You're starting with 3 and measure 5. Just 3 and then measure 6. That 3 again. 3 again. 3 again. We're fingering them all the same. That's good fingering style, in my opinion. Yeah. And measure 9, you're back to what you were doing before. And measure 13 is like the second line. Let's go on to measure 17. And then you can come down. And then 2, 1. Reach up. 2, 1 again. Just lift up and come down. And now, measure 23. The top note is the melody. I would like to connect it if I could. And if you just do this, so what I want to do is figure out how can I connect this top note and still reach the bottom note. Because if I do this, now that's a stretch time I get to there. So it doesn't work too well. But what I can do is start with a 2, 5, and then I'm going to slide off. We do a lot of sliding in piano sometimes. There are teachers who say, don't you dare do that. Yeah, I do it a lot. It says here, here, and then here, and then a 1, 4, and then a 1, 3. That I can reach. So, that way I'm connecting the melody. And then go on. Yeah, you did this. Let's go to measure 29. You're here. Rest, rest. It's another sequence. So I'm going to try and finger them all the same. It's 1, 5, 4, 1. If you can, come here and then you can reach out. You can come out. And then you're back like you were at the beginning. Same fingering. Or here, whichever. Okay. Now that's the right hand. Left hand, let's see what it's up to. We have here. If you can, that's fine because you can come out to play that. Otherwise, you got to do that. Again, I don't know how big your hands are. Now in measure, the third full measure, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, you got to do that. Again, depends on how big your hands are and how fat your fingers are. Measure 5, you come up here. measure 8, there's a couple ways to finger this. I'll let you pick or whatever. So at measure 7, you're here. You can use second finger if you'd like. Use thumb, you're just staying out here. Or you can use thumb. But going from measure 8 to 9, I don't want to use thumb for both. So one of them has to be with a thumb and the other with the second finger. It's up to you as to which. I can go here or I can go here. It's easier to go thumb second on that one. So on measure 8, it's here. You go then a thumb and then cross over and do 2. Okay. On measure 17, you're just up here. Or here. Again, I don't know how big your hands are. If you are fingering this way, then in measure 19, finger that one this way. Use third finger on here. If you're doing that, then you can do that. Whichever. Measure 29, we're here. And going up. They don't need the flat in front of the B there in measure 30, but they had a natural in the previous measure. They're just being clear, so it's all right. It doesn't hurt anything being there. Watch the fingering on measure 31. It's here. We're preparing for what's coming, because in measure 32, that F, see that little line in front of the half note F? It's a tied note from the previous measure. So the last note in measure 31 is an F. Hold that down and just add the B flat to it. So measure 31 was there. You think, oh, the pedal takes care of it, why bother? Well, I don't want to play it twice. That's a different sound. We just hang on to it. Or if you say I can let go, the pedal will catch it. Don't rely on the pedal for that kind of thing. Make the fingers do the work. Now at the end, the last 2 measures, you're up here, 2, 1. They're both black keys, it doesn't matter. And then these, and then come down. Just lift up and come down. Which fingers you use to play the last measure in? Well, you're here. You can use here if you want. If that helps. I'll leave that up to you and your teacher to decide the fingering there. Now we put the hands together and see what happens. And I'll hesitate. That's fine. I don't care. It's just here. Together, and then go back over in pieces if you need to and work out the hesitations. No hesitations. Take it as slow as you need to for now, but no hesitations. And once I can do that, I add the articulation. It's for the right hand, it's mostly you can't connect repeated notes. Lift up. I'm lifting up at the end of each measure. The left hand, we're just doing chuck chuck. We're connecting the first 2 notes. Chuck chuck. Okay. Then the dynamics applies to the melody, which is the right hand. Moderately soft, you're going to go up to about a moderately loud. Now, louder, loud. There. So I did it like a measure at a time, and that first full measure, I stayed at moderately soft. I did not change yet. So now a little louder, now, here. And now, all of a sudden, we're soft. With an accent makes that one note moderately soft. Do it again. You see in the third line that measure 10 is C-R-E-S-C, the crescendo. That's the same as the arrow. They're the same. Sometimes they'll do one, sometimes they'll do the other. In band, when we get the words like C-R-E-S-C in the music, a lot of times I take a pencil and I'll draw in an arrow, because it's easier to read the arrow than it is to, you might miss the word. The arrow's bigger usually, so just do it again. But this time on measure 13, we're staying there. Don't know why. In my opinion, you should play the fourth line like you did the second. Go. It could be an error in the music. It could be, I don't know. Then on measure 17, we're moderately loud in the right hand. You're staying pretty much loud for that whole section. The section, remember the double bars? They are the indication that you're leaving a section and going into another. It's like another piece, another melody or something, another mood, another style. So on measure 16, it's 2 beats. Technically, they split the measure. So the third beat on measure 16 is actually at the beginning. And then the pickup beat there to measure 17, that is the third beat of the last measure of the piece. So the pickup beat to measure 17, that's a new section, that is the last beat of measure 32, because that's the last measure in that section. And then you're going into another section. Well, it has a pickup beat, so it's the third beat of the last measure. So each section has its own pickup beat and its own split measure at the end with 2 counts in it. Overall, it's 3 counts all the way through. So once you finish measure 32, you're back like you were at the beginning, the same style. At the end, a diminuendo you get softer. Doesn't say anything about slowing down, you just get softer. The left hand needs to be out of the way. Just keep it out of the way. Just keep it out of the way. As far as the speed goes, this is the problem. This is a rather fast waltz. Different teachers have different opinions on this too, big surprise. For me, I think accuracy is more important than speed. I think accuracy is more important than most anything, except maybe musicianship. So if you're missing notes or whatever, slow it down. If you're not getting the rhythm right, work on it. Slow it down and work on it. You can speed it up later. Some teachers say know the mood of the piece, what they call the musicianship of the piece is more important than anything. You got to keep going no matter what. Gets back to what Beethoven said. It says missing notes is okay, but playing without feeling is intolerable or something like that. Meaning the musicianship. No matter what, you got to have the musicianship above everything else. And in my opinion, if you're missing notes, you don't have the musicianship anyway. So get the notes right and get the feeling in as you're playing it, and you become emotionally involved in the music. You're not thinking about any mechanics at all. It's all there. It's all automatic for you. So now you're just kind of getting into the music. But the mechanics got to be done first, as far as I'm concerned. I want correct notes. So you don't have to play this real fast. Just play it at your speed. Whatever speed it is that for you, and you can come back and speed it up later. Now they've added pedal, so let's examine exactly what effect does the pedal have. I've learned it without pedal first, so I know the fingers are doing what I need them to do. Let's see what the pedal does. At first you're using a typical waltz style pedaling where you just pedal the first beat of the measure because that reinforces the natural accent. That 1, 2, 3, 1, and it fits in nicely with an chuck chuck, because you're connecting the first 2 notes anyway. Now when it's fast, you got to push the pedal down with a note because there isn't time to lag it. But lift it up with the next note. And the second line is a different style now. It's not an chuck chuck, it's more connected. So if they're showing pedaling each measure, you can pedal the second line the same way, I think. Just the first measure, first beat. It's just the left hand is not an chuck chuck anymore. It's a different feeling, so we changed the pedal. So go ahead and do the pedaling that they're showing. That works very nicely. Now, measure 17, that's the second section, section B, This is smoothing. Go ahead and legato pedal that. You're changing it with the harmony, with the bar line here. The harmony isn't changing, but the melody, you don't want to smear it. So we have to keep changing the pedals to keep the melody sort of clean. So with each bar line's good. Now on measure 23, that's too much. I don't want all that. So what I do in that case is I lift up on the third beat, because that kind of clears it out. Yeah, because I'm connecting with the fingers anyway. I think it might help in section B, starting at measure 17. If you maybe lift it up in the third beat. Like we were doing in measure 23. If it starts getting too blurry, then just lift up on the third beat when you're pedaling the whole measure, because the melody could get blurred here, but if you lift it up. You have to listen to the music, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. What do you want to hear? It complicates the pedaling somewhat, but you get a better sound, and that's what I'm after. Yeah. And that's basically the pedaling, in my opinion. What they've marked in the book is pretty good. Except measure 23, I lift up on the third beat. And any other measure like that, I would also lift up on the third beat, just to keep the melody clean. Let's play this together slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. Now, I'm not going to do the louds and softs. I'll go ahead and pedal it. For the most part, like it's shown, except for measure 23, I think. And I'll give us 2 counts because we come in on beat 3. Now we're going to go really super slow, just one hand at a time if you need to. All we're doing is checking notes and rhythms. Ready, go.